Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Eastern Lariat podcast, your show for news, notes, reviews and opinions in the world of Japanese pro wrestling here on cagematch.net. I am your host, STRIGGA, as always joined by Dylan. Hello, Dylan. We joined again to talk about some wrestling here.
We've got a lot of interesting, intricate, interloping things to talk about today. Should be a lot of fun. I think that there's so much going on. I mean, we just came off of Golden Week, which was one of the busiest weeks.
Yes.
And, this week we've got a lot. They didn't slow down. And we knew that was going to happen with the junior tournament happening in New Japan. But really, a ton of companies have stuff going around. Yeah. And I think it's going to be really good to get into it right now.
Yeah, so I figured we'll start the show off right off the bat with the topic of Wrestle Universe, because this week there was the news that Marvelous is now being added to this streaming service. And I want to say that when it comes to value for money, this streaming service is really the best one, because you're getting 7 different groups right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get 8 right now with Marvelous. They still mention Real 01, but that's really nothing of note anymore because there is no shows that are uploaded anymore from that company. On top of that, there is also sometimes some additions from other companies. There, for example, is of course the Fighting Detectives show that aired there. I don't know if they still air. They for a moment they aired Deadlock Pro as well, but I don't think they do that anymore. That was cool too that they had that on there as well. But yeah, Dylan, I was thinking to go through all of the promotions that are on Wrestle Universe to give everybody a brief insight into this streaming service if you haven't yet signed up, if you're on the verge of signing up, or if you've maybe never heard of Wrestle Universe, which would be something if you're listening to this podcast. You've never heard about Wrestle Universe. But there are a couple of promotions on there. And of course, the 2 big promotions that are on there are DDT and Pro Wrestling NOAH. So starting with DDT right now, they have their King of DDT tournament going on. And if you've not checked out the show from May 6th, you should do that right now. Drop everything that you're doing. Drop listening to this podcast for now. And go and watch Kazusada Higuchi and Yuya Shinya Aoki in the main event of the first round show of the King of DDT, because that really, Dylan, was one of my favorite matches of the first 5 months in Japan in total. Just a great fight between the two. High intensity throughout the match. I wanted to bring that up actually last time we recorded, but I forgot it in the end, and I was pissed at myself for forgetting that. But I'm mentioning it now. Higuchi versus Aoki, that was something special.
I just think that, I was going to say, I think Aoki has to be somebody who I think we've all underrated collectively at the time. You know, we've all kind of came together and looked at him as this. Obviously, we respect his MMA game, but because he is one of the greatest of all time, legitimately. But as a wrestler, because he started off he really warmed his way up to get to where he is now. Because he did a lot of the goofy comedic stuff for a lot of the time early on. He wasn't going that hard. Then he built up, and pretty much out of nowhere, he ended up winning the title in DDT. There was no real build to that. It was just, he just suddenly won the title. And ever since then, it's like he went from a level of somebody I really enjoy when he gets to do serious matches, but was never really spotlighted, to like, hey, this guy's one of the best wrestlers in the world. It feels like.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I feel like he always had this in him if he wanted to show it, and he just didn't feel like it until now. And Higuchi's great to see back in DDT. I think as a fan, it's a big help having somebody like him be in these major spots. Their match was phenomenal. Everything you said about it was accurate. I can't really have even said it better myself. But this is a match I would love to see again on a grander stage, even. It just depends on what they're going to do with the tournament and Higuchi, especially since he's still alive. What they have in mind for that.
Yeah, so the tournament is winding up this coming weekend on the 25th. Sunday, right? Yeah, that's Sunday. It's winding up on the weekend. We have a full card for that one, so I'm going to want to give you a quick rundown for that. We have Schadenfreude International. That is, of course, Chris Brooks, Antonio Honda, and Takeshi Masada in that instance against Damnation TA of Daisuke Sasaki, MJ Paul, and Illusion. Then we have the two semifinals with Katsusada Higuchi versus Yuki Ueno and Kanon versus Hideki Okatani. They did a deal where they drew these like little colored balls from the urine. And Ueno didn't want his because he was facing Higuchi. Kanon took his, but Okatani was reluctant. So the ref had to do it for him, and that's setting up these semifinals. Four-way tag match next: Harashima and Katsuki Hirata versus Akito and Yuya Koroko versus Toru Washi and Yuki Ishida and Yuni and Katsuma Sumi. And by the way, I wanted to mention, Dylan, I've been watching some of the tour stops that DDT has been doing in early May, and I really, really liked the feud between the new NWA Junior, that's Yuni, Sumi, and of course Shunma Katsumata, against the Damnation TA group, specifically because we get all the matches between the young guys, Illusion versus Katsuma Sumi, Illusion versus Yuni. So I really, really like that feud. Special six-man tag next: Jun Akiyama, Yuki Onaya, and Daichi Sato versus Shinya Aoki, Shunma Katsumata, and Toy. The Universal title is on the line with Minoru Suzuki defending it against Danshoko Dino. I have absolutely no time for that match. Not because of Dino, but because of Suzuki. And
I think I can safely say both.
And the King of DDT final, of course. Who's it going to be?
My fear is it's Kanon.
Yeah, I think so too.
I would hope it would be Higuchi or Ueno, but I think that it'll be Kanon. To be honest, I don't think it'll be Okatani, but I mean, they love pushing Damnation, so you never know. You know.
Okatani is great right now. It's a role, I have to say.
I hated that match versus Naya. Like, I thought that was such a
the
terrible
match
match.
Was not good. Yeah.
Okatani's not good, actually. Like in this role, in my opinion. I think he was a lot better before this happened.
I agree with that. When he came back and joined Damnation, I thought it was going to be horrible. I don't think it's horrible, but it could be better. I mean, yeah, it could be better. But still, though,
your expectations were so low that it
very low. But I'm beginning to like it somewhat.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens in this match with Kanon. I think this could be a barn burner.
On the other hand, Kanon. So he has this new tag team with Mao going on, Strange Love Connection. And they've also been in New Japan Pro Wrestling because Kanon has been accompanying Mao to the ring for the Kurken Hall shows. And this tag team is over. Has fans, they are behind them, and that's good and all. But there is just no way that this Kanon dude is ever going to be a top guy because he's just not a good wrestler. There is so many things about what he does in the ring that looks just... It's hard to pinpoint to specific moves, but when you just have to look at him and look how... That's always what I say. When I watch young wrestlers, I will look at how they move. And this guy just moves in a strange way that often prevents him and his opponents from having real great chemistry and real great matches.
I do want to correct myself. It was Kanon who had the terrible match with Naya, but I also did like Okatani's match with Harashima as well. Like, that was also bad, to be fair.
I wouldn't say bad, but not good. Definitely better than the Kanon match.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. That's fair. Count on. He is a guy that I think everybody had some high expectations for coming in.
Me too.
I mean, he's got a great look. Anybody from JTO has that Taka seal of approval, pretty much. But he does.
Yeah, I mean, Renayabe was also trained by Taka Michinoku, and right now, it's not like that he's lighting the world on fire, right?
Maybe Taka's lost his fastball as a trainer.
Maybe he's only capable of training women these days.
That's
because
true.
They are all great, actually.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right about that. But the thing is, what you said was true about his team with Mao, and I actually think the story they've told with this guy, I count on, is really great. Actually, like I think that they did a great job of setting him up to succeed. I love the gimmick that he had, where like he kept coming out even after they turned on him, like Damnation. Like he didn't let it go. Like he kept coming out. He still kept trying, and I thought that was like a really, because I think a lot of times wrestling stories are never very realistic or good in a lot of ways, unless they are based on something in actual real life. Like, but in terms of a pure storytelling, him, because I think we've all probably been in a relationship of some sort before where things go south, and you had this amazing relationship or friendship or whatever at one point, and for whatever reason things change and you don't want them to change. You still love this person and they don't love you anymore and they're moving on, but you can't let it go. And that's what we saw with him in Damnation, where they had already betrayed him and hurt him and done harm. And that's another thing, a very human emotion, where like those relationships often involve someone getting hurt badly but not being able to let go. And I thought that was a very human emotion for Count on to show, and it led to a wonderful ending where now he has this new friend who loves him in a much more good way, like not toxic way as Damnation
Exactly.
did.
In a way that you'd want to be loved. Exactly. Yes. So the story in and of itself, like I said, they are over, and they are over for a reason, because the storyline was really good and worked. That's definitely true.
I just wish that it was someone else that could wrestle good, like that was telling the story on there. Like I would be more into it because of that. Because it's him. I actually have no interest in any of this practically, and I think that yes, they are over. But my eyes are not playing tricks on me. Like I see what I see. I've given him tons of chances. Like we all have. He's gotten tons of chances. And if he wins this, like I'm pretty much out on this company. Like, to be honest, like that's how little I think of him as a wrestler. If he is going to be the main event guy of DDT, I don't want to watch this show anymore. Because there's nothing for me there. If that is the case, like the other ones, they all. Like I said, I haven't liked Okatani very much since his return, but I have seen him do good in the past and can at least trick myself into believing in that could be good. And the other two are fantastic, and I would love to see what they could do. I think that if I ran DDT, I would look at where things were not that long ago when Ueno was champion.
Yes.
And we talked about it. Pretty much every show was significantly bigger than the year prior, like with him as the champion. And in short order, it hasn't even been a year since he's lost the belt. We don't get attendances anymore from this company.
Exactly.
And we haven't all year. And they're not doing that because they think it's a flex. If I'm the one running this company, I look at that and I might have a look in the mirror and say, maybe we made a mistake. Like before last year, putting the title off of him, because he's gone down. Like I said, I loved Aoki's run from a wrestling standpoint, but it was just totally random. Like there was no build up to it at all. And Brooks feels like this Brooks reign does not have what his first one had, I have to say, on that. I think that he, and again, it's not anything he's doing wrong per se. It's just the whole company feels in this weird situation.
He had the great house in December where I was in attendance too. He's definitely I mean, from the drawing perspective, the second Brooks run is not bad.
I mean, I mean, like I said, they don't air attendances. Again, I will repeat
right.
that.
I know that, but
and I've seen these crowds. They're not good.
I've been there in Sumo Hall in December, and that was a great crowd.
That's one show compared to half a year of not having attendances. So I don't think that's accurate. What you said is accurate at all. Actually,
I don't think what you're saying about Ueno right now is accurate as well, because you look at where he is right now. Because you couldn't just put him back on top right now, because remember what he did with the Universal title the last time. He looked like a total geek.
Yeah, well, I mean that's true. I didn't say anything to counter that. What I said was accurate, but your point adds greater context to the modern era for sure. And they haven't built him up either. He's not an interesting challenger.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that's how I would think. I would say we're here now, and we were here last year with him, and we booked him like an asshole and a geek. And there probably was heat on him because he pissed off Kota Ibushi, and some people's feelings were hurt on there. And that led to all of what we have this year. And I would say, hey, we've screwed up. Like, maybe we should stop this and get back to where we were last year. But the thing is, what you said is true, though. Like, it would be hard to go back to that, considering what they've done since. Because he's really not a main player, like, since he's lost the title.
And ultimately, when it comes to Higuchi, we've seen the moment when he won the title, and we all loved it. But unfortunately,
that didn't draw at all.
The core DDT audience didn't love it at all. So,
no.
I mean, I love the guy, and you love the guy, and lots of people we know love the guy, but he's just not gonna be a top dude in DDT because he's not the type of guy that the DDT audience wants to have on top.
But I think that's important to note. Like, there's nothing wrong with him as a wrestler at all.
No, he's great.
Exactly. So when we say that, it's no shade on him. It's just he's in the wrong place for his skill set, at the end of the day, and the wrong time, perhaps, as well. But, I mean, the thing that may make me think that it's possible he could win, he was gone for a long time, and he came back. Like, that automatically kind of gives you a little bit of a boost of interest. When you're injured and then you come back, that can always help you, and maybe they think that can be the thing to take him over the top. I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, if they did that, I would love it because I'm a fan of his. His match with Brooks too. When the year that Brooks won the title, they had the King of DDT final match with each other, and it was freaking awesome. Like, one of Brooks' best matches that he ever had. So I think they would have a great match together at Peter Pan. And like I said, the other two, I just don't want to see in the main event, ultimately. So I'd rather it be whoever wins between Higuchi and Ueno. But I think they're going to roll the dice on one of the others, probably count on. It gives you more storyline possibility. They put so much into him. Like, regardless of what Dylan thinks, they have put so much into him that it's probably too late to stop now.
It would also make sense because, like you said, he was fighting against Domination TA, complete hopeless situation with 1-on-4, and this would make some good for him to finally be able to overcome one of them. So, in storyline perspective, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but I just don't have any interest in seeing it, ultimately. Yeah. So it depends on what kind of fan you are. Everything they're doing right now is a real turnoff. I think they're in a pretty down period at the moment.
Yeah, I feel so about TJPW as well. I mean, I've not watched TJPW show since I've just checked it before we started recording. I saw the one on WrestleMania weekend, and I saw the big show in March. But except for that, I've completely I don't know I ran out of interest in the last couple of weeks, and that's bad because it was one of my favorite promotions.
Yeah, I mean, they had this Golden Week shows, and there wasn't even a big title match on them. It was like
they did the international title, didn't they?
Somewhere, Himawari award fan that votes for her as Joshi MVP was loving this. Yes. Okay. Wherever you are, I want you to know I thought of you when I saw that match, that was their big match.
Yeah.
You have more ammo, and I fully expect you to return for the half-year awards next month to vote.
I gotta check that match out. That looks good on paper for me.
It was pretty good. Like I said, it wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it was super special, but it was pretty good. And I like Suzume and I like Himawari, so it was a good match. Definitely worth a watch if you got some time. But I can see why it didn't, grab your interest or anything like that too much.
Maybe
but
I'll
like,
only.
yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say like they didn't have a big match on there, like a POP title match.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. I can't tell.
I don't know. I mean,
they did 2 shows. They headlined with the Princess Tag title and with the International Princess title.
Yeah. It's kind of like when I think of TJP though, and I think this has been true virtually their entire existence in a lot of ways. There's been some matches that have been great. There's been fun times that were had, surely. But I also think that there's always been an air, in my opinion, and I kind of feel the same way about DDT a lot of the time, but not as bad. But with TJP especially, where I feel like no matter what happens, it doesn't actually matter. Like the fans who love it will love it no matter what. Right. And if you're not into it, then what they're doing is not going to grab you, like by design, almost. Like they don't even attempt to do anything different than what they are. At the end of the day. And I think that's like the blessing and the curse of both of these companies, like DDT and TJP, is like you will know pretty quickly if this is for you or not. And I feel like if it hits for you, you really, really love it. And if you don't like it, then you just hate it and you don't want anything to do with it. DDT more so than TJP, but even then, a lot of their stuff just isn't going to grab you if you're not already, if it's not already appealing to you.
I guess so, yeah. Yep, I guess that's true, yeah. So maybe they'll be able to grab me again with the upcoming Tokyo Princess Cup.
Yeah,
that is when is that actually starting? They have this. It's starting on the 27th of July. They have a tournament to set up 4 spots that are qualifying spots. So far, we have Mizuki as the champion, of course, Shoko Nakajima as tag team champion, Hyper Misao tag team champion, Suzume as the international princess champion, Yuki Kamifuku, Raku, Miyo Yamashita, Rika Tatsumi, Miyo Watanabe, Yuki Aino, Arisu Endo, and Yuki Arai as the usual entrants into the tournament. Plus, we get 4 qualifying spots that will be contested amongst the younger wrestlers on the roster. So the Tokyo Princess Cup is usually a good tournament to get into TJPW again, or if you're looking for a new promotion to get into, this is usually a good starting point.
Yeah, you always have to go with the tournaments. Because you get a look at everybody on the roster, and that is one thing I think TJP especially is actually very good at. One of their strengths is like, no matter what kind of fan you are, there's usually at least one act that will really appeal to you. Like, even if the whole promotion doesn't, a lot of times, whether it's the Up Girls, whether it's Yamashita, like with the Striker, the Sugar Rabbits in the past, Ito was there in the past, was big for that. And now like Daisy Monkey are 2 of my favorites. Like, there's somebody that will appeal to you and you can kind of latch on to as a fan. Even Misao, Hyper Misao, like if you want to go there. Saki in the past. Like, so they're very good at that, having these big characters that will grab someone, and potentially one will grab you there. They have an interesting list of youngsters that could be in the tournament, like for the final 4 spots.
Yep.
So
who would you put in?
So the ones that were announced to compete for the qualifiers were Pam Harajuku, Mahiro Kiryu, Haruna Niko, Moka Miyamoto, Kaya Toribami, Wakana Uehara, Himawari, unquestionably has to be in for the Eastern Lariat faithful.
Yeah.
Haru Kazushiro, Toga, we like Toga as well on the show. Shino Suzuki, she's a part of the Up Girls. I wouldn't be surprised to see her in.
Yeah.
Mifu Ashida, Kira Summer, Chika Nanase, Uda Takami, Ivy Steele, and Konatsu is very young. So, yeah, I can definitely see. I think Wakana will be in there. I think what they will do will be Moka Wakana Waihara, Shino, and then the fourth spot's kind of a mix between the people I said, like Toga,
Yeah,
Himawari,
I guess
maybe
there
Kira
will.
Summer.
I guess there will be one surprise entrant that I can see Uta Takami being that.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, she's good.
Haru could be somebody, young wrestler who's always impressing on the undercards.
Yeah, that's right.
So you've got that, but I want it to be Toga.
Yeah, Toga is good.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is TJPW and the Princess Cup. That is running all the way through July and August, and culminating on the 23rd of August with a final in Kurkenhall.
I hope that they have a title match, but before this tournament starts for Mizuki.
Maybe they will. I don't know. I've not seen any cards that indicate that. Yeah, Kurkenhall, Dylan, was again the place where another GHC heavyweight title match happened, with Osawa once again being in the main event and drawing a very, very good house for Pro Wrestling NOAH with how many fans? I'm not finding it right now. I try to talk over it.
It's 1,500.
1,562 fans. Yes, I in the meantime, between the show that we did last time and this time, I watched the big show from the beginning of May, and I watched this show. And yeah, this once again, watching these two shows once again convinced me that I'm not becoming a regular viewer of Pro Wrestling NOAH. It's just not my cup of tea. I just don't get into a lot of these characters. The matches themselves, they're fairly okay to good, but I'm just not into most of these characters, groups. Passionate rattles. What the hell is that, Dylan?
It's the craze that's sweeping the nation.
Is that so?
I really, it's Rattel's, but it's built around Soya for some reason.
For some reason, and now they also added Saxon Huxley and Daiki Inaba, and they are like being crazy people.
Yeah, it's very weird. I personally I will admit that I was disappointed we didn't have a longer discussion on the show earlier in the month. Not because I thought the content itself was worth talking about, just purely because it was a major show, the 25th anniversary for, again, a company that meant a lot to not just me, but the whole scene. Like, this used to be, there was a debate I was having the other day on Twitter. Like, for a very brief period, you could argue it was the number one company. Like, very brief. But
2004, 2005, you can argue that, yes.
Yeah, really only around Destiny, because that show got a primetime television slot, which is impossible for wrestling at the time. And but even still, that was important. And for my personal viewing as a fan, they were number one for a long time. So I am glad that they made it to the anniversary. Obviously, I'm glad that they had a big show. As I said before, I really like the Yohei Naito match. Everything else I could have passed on, more or less. And this show, we didn't even have that. we didn't even have a good match on this show.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, we also, they're worth talking about only because they're so successful right now. And
yeah,
that's the weird part of it, because I think the quality of the shows have not gotten very much better, to say the least. But for some reason, and the reason being Ozawa as the champion, they've taken to the fans have taken to the promotion a lot more. And I just have to ultimately accept, I think, that Ozawa's act is just not for me. Overall. And that's kind of a sad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen these gimmicks many times before in the past, and I totally get what they're going for, but I just don't think he does it for me. At the end of the day, as a champion, I like the idea of him on paper, but just interference-laden matches with a heel that doesn't take anything seriously has been done a million times, and he might be great at it, but
it ultimately drags down everybody else. because everybody has to play along with him and not taking anything seriously.
But the company also doesn't take anything seriously as well. Like
So it's the perfect company really for that.
Yeah, exactly, and it's working. Like I'm not denying that at all.
It's working, yes. But I agree with you. I'm just once again looking at this card that we had for the 25th anniversary, and most of the show was just not good.
Yeah.
It's man.
I think this show was even worse.
This Galeno run for the national title, that's so many leagues beyond what his brother was doing with the title. Man. Yohei being the junior champion, that's good and all. He, like you said, this was probably one of his best performances, if not the best that he's ever put on.
Yeah.
And he's over too. And I don't know. I like the guy for what he does. He's just not that I'm really into anything that he does. Then Tetsuya Endo gets beaten in this tag match, and now he's one of the challengers for the heavyweight title.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Kaito Kiyomiya gets a solid match out of Marufuji that was basically just built on spots for 17 minutes.
Yeah.
And then of course we get Osawa and Kenta, with Kenta trying to be the babyface, but then being turned on. Yes, it was a successful show. That's the best part of it.
Yeah, this show there's like nothing of note to talk about until the main event. You know. Like the Yohei match was fine. Like Yohei Tadasuke, it wasn't nearly as good as the Eita match.
Daiki Urashima in the opener was great as usual.
He's among the best, in my opinion. Like out of any wrestler.
Yes, Orashima's problem eventually is going to be that he is a rookie in Pro Wrestling NOAH, and he'll have a real hard time to get up there. We just see it from others that have tried in Pro Wrestling NOAH, like Yoshiki Nomura, like Yunta Miyawaki. It's just fairly impossible to reach anything. And then he's just not that tall. He's just 5'5".
Very small.
Yeah. That's too bad because he's really over and he's really good. Yeah.
They handled him excellently with the Fujita stuff, which they stopped.
That's right.
Unfortunately. Like, that was some of the best stuff in NOAH, in my opinion, but it's done now.
You were saying a couple of shows ago that Amaxa and you were saying that Miyawaki is a geek, but Amaxa is not, but they lost the titles in their first defense against Alpha Wolf and Dragonbane.
That was their second defense.
Second defense, I'm sorry.
Yeah, come on now. How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, one of the best acts of the company definitely is the Keno, Kenta, and Ulka Sasaki trio.
Oh, yeah.
Keno and Ulka being tag champs makes perfect sense for both guys right now. Keno is not anywhere near the top title anymore. Ulka is on his way up. That's really a great team for Ulka Sasaki to climb up the ranks even more. He's one of the exceptions for the rule in Pro Wrestling NOAH that their own trainees can't accomplish anything.
He has the MMA swag to him, though.
He'll be something.
Yeah, I like him a lot, and I think they've actually done a very good job pushing him. And that's the weird part of this company too. They've shown there's like a couple of spots, like guys on the roster, that they show that they actually can do good if they want to. That makes you wonder why the rest of the company isn't like these guys that they do, like Ulka. And Ozawa has been pushed excellently, even if I don't love his act. So we'll see what happens with him, but I think he's in a really good spot with the triangle with Kenta and Keno. And a good spot as a tag champion too. I think that'll be a fun run they could have. It's NOAH. They could do anything. They could have them lose the titles tomorrow, for all we know. But I think that they'll do better with them.
They will. So the title match is happening in early June 3rd. So we had Tetsuya Endo saying that he's not anymore with Team 2000X. They wanted him to hit who? They wanted him to hit Kenta with a bat, right?
No, I was thinking of Sugiura.
Sugiura. Okay, yeah. So he just said, "No, I'm not doing it. I'm out." And so he left Team 2000X. And after the main event of Osawa defending it against Kaito Kiyomiya, he came out and wanted a title match, but Osawa said, okay, well, we're going to do a three-way with Sugiura as well, three-way survival match. That's the next title match. But we forgot to talk about the actual title match that happened on the show. Osawa versus Kaito Dylan. What do you think?
I thought the first part of the match where Kaito was like going off and just like wailing on him was pretty freaking awesome. I have to say.
And the crowd was totally behind Kaito all of a sudden. Crazy, right? How that works.
Yeah, because he actually looked cool and not like a loser, and wasn't doing Muto's cosplay bullshit that he always does as well. He just actually got to fight somebody.
And it's so hard, Dylan. I don't know how we can put this guy over. It's so freaking hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard for them, apparently. But the second half of the match, I thought, collapsed, because then it got turned into an Ozawa match, pretty much, where you had the run-ins, you had Ozawa's, trolling, pretty much. And
the finish out of complete nowhere. Finish out of complete nowhere, the Phoenix Splash.
That happened in the Kenta match, too, where it felt like it just ended. Like, So that was one of my criticisms of that match, and you're right. You're very right about that. I don't know why they did it that way, but they're at such a weird point with Kaito, because they did the promo after the show, after the Kenta match, where everybody booed him to death. In general, he gets a really negative reaction, and they started to like play into it a little bit. They have him doing this weird smile gimmick, like makes him look like a complete goober, to be honest. But they're at least self-aware finally, because you could have leaned into this a long time ago if they wanted, but they're finally self-aware at least, and obviously a lot of comparisons are being made between him and Umino in New Japan, and who's in a very similar spot. I would argue he hasn't been treated nearly as bad as Kaito. I would say
no.
Kaito has to overcome like 5 mountains stacked on top of each other, like what they put on him. So like he's got a lot of work ahead of him, but as a performer, like as a wrestler, he's still top grade, like one of the best. Not just in the company, but of any company. If you could just put his wrestling skills into someone who hadn't been booked like he was, that I would say, oh, this guy's going to be a really big star. And much like I did before all this happened, like in his first title reign. So he's great as a wrestler. I just don't think there's any hope for him right now, and they're trying something different. We'll see what happens with it. But I do think, honestly, I really think a lot of Ozawa's success and appeal is just because they moved on from Kaito. Just because it's someone different. I think the fans were so desperate to have somebody different in this run that, and you got somebody who's really different. Like this is not any kind of traditional NOAH champion. So from that sense, it was a stroke of brilliance. But with Kaito, I think they're going to have to go back to the drawing board again, unless the smile thing takes off. I suppose.
It's the same point that I'll bring up with Shota Umino. That's great that you made the comparison there, because much like New Japan with Shota Umino, they will not go to the drawing board, because they will just do a minor thing that is different from where Kaito was before. And except for that, he's going to be the same dude. Like, they gave him this elbow drop, and that's great and all. That looked great. Great finish against Marufuji. Then he got up in this match, and he was doing this face, this smile, this complete desperate smile, for whatever reason there was. They gave him that. But they're not going to go back to the drawing board and completely reinvent this character, because that's never what they've done with Kaito.
I think that he's just in a tough spot, but it's such a deep hole to dig his way out of. And unlike Umino, I mean, his character has been the same pretty much, but they tried to give him various different looks, like of wildly different ones. You had the All Rebellion stuff with the silver. You had the rainbow feathery Kaito. You had the black, like all black Kaito. You had Misawa tribute Kaito.
I was just gonna bring up. Remember when Go Shiozaki stole his colors?
That's exactly what happened, and it led to Go being a top star, which he'd never been before. They just basically transferred Kaito's gimmick to Go, and Go was wildly successful with it. He's done a lot. Like they've tried so many different things. They give it to the Muto stuff with the Shining Wizard, changed his moveset. They've done a lot of different things. With Umino, they just kind of do the same thing, just in a different package.
What they should do with Kaito? Give him a motorcycle.
I think that is the answer for sure. Give him
everything.
A green motorcycle to signify NOAH.
Go Shiozaki will steal from him.
I think that would kind of fit Ozawa, actually.
Oh yeah, like, that's right. Yeah.
Coming out on a bike.
Steal the green motorcycle and paint it black.
Yeah, that's an angle. That's months of storylines right there that we've just booked. But this stuff, the ultimate problem with all of this is, so this match was done on basically 2 weeks' notice, and not made to feel special at all. They had, I guess some hype that it was just these two of the top stars, I suppose, like in NOAH. But they did it for seemingly no reason. They started this smile deal with Kaito, and now we're going to a 3-way? What is the plan with this?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder.
So the deal now seems to be that Tetsuya Endo is getting a push. Endo came in early January for Team 2000X, won the national title, then lost the national title very quickly again to Soya. The national title was won by Osawa, who threw it into the bin and said that it's not worth anything. Now we have the national title in the mid card because of that. So now, leading up to this Hurricane Hall show, we could see that there was trouble between 2000X and Tetsuya Endo, and so here they did the split. Now, the first thing they do after the split is he's getting the title match. What do you do after that?
And I mean, I think you could have gotten to this point in such a better way. I have no problem with them pushing Endo. Like, it's somebody different. He's got a lot of fresh singles matches, which they threw away the opportunity to do, literally threw it away, because he could have been the national champion and had a great run through the roster before we got to this turn, which is what they should have done. But instead, we got what we got. And I don't mind him being in a main event role, because he could have fresh matches with all the people that would be boring if they fought Kaito would be more interesting to face a new guy who... Endo, I've never criticized his in-ring skills. I've always thought he was a really bland guy, like, and very boring. But the guy can work. Like, we saw that in the tag run last year with Eno, within Bernie. So I have no problem pushing him at all. How they got here, I think, is just so bizarre to me, and the 3-way may be the worst of it all. I thought they had an easy story to tell, based on that Sumo Hall show they did earlier in the month, where, look, you had the special guest of the show, the man Endo faced, his mentor, Akiyama, right there. What I would have done is had Akiyama challenge Ozawa for the title.
Yeah.
And have Ozawa beat him handily. Maybe have have the whole crew beat the hell out of Akiyama, and then Endo jumps in to save him.
And that was literally right there.
And like, look how easy. That wasn't some genius idea I came up with. It was right there. So you could have done that. Then you could have had Endo challenge. That's 3 months of storylines that they're doing in this 1 3-way match.
What they did in reality was Akiyama came in to beat some sense of reality into Endo, and that was just that happened.
And then because he doesn't want to take Yoshitatsu's help, he is now a babyface.
He's now a babyface. I mean, that's the ultimate babyface move.
That is true. And now Sugera's involved for no sensible reason. That's another, like, if you had put him versus Ozawa in a singles match, I would be into that.
Oh yeah,
Like, because he's somebody I have more faith in than pretty much anybody. Like Sugiura in terms of in-ring. If you had just had Sugiura and Endo as a singles match, a number one contendership, you could have made that something if you wanted. Have Sugiura give him his stamp of approval. Have them all come together, do something. But instead, it's just like his turn just happened. It was like, hey, there's no real reason to turn, but I'm just gonna do it. So I thought they could have put a lot more storyline effort into Endo's turn. I don't mind them doing it. I just think how they got there was very. They just didn't try as hard as they should have, in my opinion. And the end result of the three-way does nothing for me. With two guys that I like and one guy who is, at worst, very charismatic and very over with the crowd. So you're going to have to figure something out now to make this work. I fully expect that match is going to have a motherload of interferences with so many moving parts. I could see another group running in. Maybe Kenta's unit runs out to even the odds. Sugiura could get some buddies to come out. Endo might have a new friend. He still needs a new unit now to find in NOAH.
Yeah, I mean he's now going to team with Sugiura,
and that's fine if they weren't in the opposite sides of a three-way match coming right up. That's their debut as a team. Enemies.
Yeah.
NOAH booking, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, what do you think? Like what do you? Because we talked about it off the air.
Yeah.
Where is this title reign going ultimately?
I can ultimately. Oh,
because we presume he's going to win this match.
We presume he's going to win this match. I was just thinking about the immediate future. Actually, I was thinking that he'll beat Sugiura in the match, and then Endo gets a singles match.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, so, I think that's the completely logical. Although the three-way does give you the opportunity to have him drop the belt without getting pinned.
That is
if you want to do that.
Point. That is a good point. But
Endo pins Sugiura at the start of their tag team run.
I was just gonna say, so one guy wins the title and the other one has nothing.
Yeah, so I think the likely option is that Ozawa would win over Sugiura, and then, like you said, they would have a big Ozawa Endo match, which, again, that could be very good if they cut the nonsense out, I would say. But
I have really no idea where this could lead if it's not going to be Kenta or Kaito.
And they've done Kaito twice now.
Exactly. It could be Ulka, but do you want to drag out the Osawa run until early next year? That's the question.
Oh, I think that it's a good chance he lasts until the New Year show. You have, everybody was shocked that Inamura didn't come out after this match, and he's going to be back soon.
I guess so, but the more that I think about, the more Ulka Sasaki makes sense as the one.
Yeah, he's a better person.
Yeah.
They might try and get Naito on the line for that.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Going to a talking event with Bushi in June.
How do you think that's going to go?
I mean, they sell tickets for that, so I'm guessing it's going to go well.
Do you think he'll spill any secrets on anybody?
Oh, sure.
What kind of dirt do you think he has on people?
I think he has something on everybody. I mean,
could it all be revealed?
Yeah, he's been with New Japan Wrestling for a long, long time.
And that's true, yeah. It's like late 2000s era, so he's got a long time. Could be fun. But yeah, I like the idea of Ulka. Inamura would be good if they got behind him, I think, but they've just never showed an ability to do that. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, if they wanted to do what I said, just give Endo a brief run here, it would probably go back to Ozawa, but it would at least give Ozawa a chance to go to the New Year while also breaking up the monotony of his title reign, kind of. If you had a 1 or 2 month run with Endo, or even Sugiura, I would be for that for sure. But I think the way they push people would be more likely to be Endo. Just kind of give like a break, pretty much, for Ozawa, and then pick back up before the tournament starts. I wouldn't be against that if they did something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
There's just not a lot to yeah, there's just not a lot to talk about else like otherwise on the show. Like none of the titles are doing that great right now, you know. And that's what I always say. Like I always say, look at the titles when you look at how a company's doing. Ozawa's doing fantastic, and everything else. The tag belts are going okay too. Like with Kendo and Oka, we praised that.
Yes.
Everything else is either retreads or Galeno, which is like doing not good at all. I would say, like you said, because of what they did earlier, the title's still trying to recover, and he's not able to do that. So hopefully they can get something going, some angle that grabs people, maybe a return or a debut or something, like a new signing. Because it just feels like there's not a lot going on right now. You know, outside of the champion.
There's few guys that you can really think, oh yeah, they are going to win the title.
What about Super Delphin?
That's a guess as good as any.
They're bringing him in, STRIGGA.
Let me put it this way, Dylan. The likelihood of Super Delphin winning the GHC heavyweight title is higher than Masaki Tamiya winning it.
I would say they're about equal. Equally at 0%. But hey, Super Delphin was the man. He was vastly underrated in the 90s.
Yeah, great guy.
30 years ago. But that's cool.
Okay, so that's Pro Wrestling Noah. Marigold, they are going to have their first anniversary tournament, Shine Forever, a glorious celebration this coming Saturday. Second Yoyogi National Stadium, my favorite venue in all of Japan. I loved it when I was there. Let's look at the card for that one. First, we have a debut of Shino. She's facing Mai Sakurai as an 8-woman tag match with Chanyota, Irina Yamanaka, Ryoko Sakimura, and Nagisa Tachibana versus Nagisa Nosaki, Shiaki Misa Matsui, and Megaton. Koki Amare is back, teaming with Kizuna Tanaka. They remember that they have the GHC Women's title, by the way.
Yeah.
They team against Chika Goto and Minami Yuki. Then there is another Marvelous versus Marigold confrontation with Natsumi Shozuki, Nao Ishikawa, Hummingbird, Rei Saito, and Konomo Minami against Riko Kawahata, Maria, Ai Hosan, Senka Akatsuki, and Sora Ayame. I really liked the last one they did, but it just didn't draw a lot. That's the unfortunate part about it. Other than that, it was a great match. Seiri Yamaoka faces off with Takumi Iroha in unquestionably her biggest match so far in her career, in her 5-month-long career. Victoria Suzuki puts on the Super Flyweight title against Mayu Iwatani, and we expect that Mayu is probably going to win the title. Then we have Utami Hayashishita versus Mirai for the world title of Marigold, and Nanae Takahashi's last match against Miko Aono, and that is a pretty good-looking card, actually.
Yeah. Do you think that Nanai's retirement will be the main event?
The order of matches on the Marigold website suggests that.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I think it's a great. I mean, the show itself, like you said, it's a good show. Like on paper, right now, like when you see what they're doing, you get a new debut in Shino. You know, and they pushed Mai Sakurai a lot, and she has improved. Like, you know, there's no doubt about that. I thought people were a little quick to crown her, but she's definitely improved and should be a good match to open up the show. The Darkness Revolution stuff, I have no time for. Like that is nothing for me. Tag match, I don't care about either. Like the Koki and Kizuna versus Chika and Yuki. 10-woman tag, yeah, I agree with what you said. The gauntlet deal they did before was actually creative and like really good. But like you said, the Torque number was like really low. It was below like 700 or something. But it was a really good match. I can't remember what day that show was on. It was at the end of April. Because it was the same show they did that big Mirai Utami build-up match, which is like a really good tag as well. The last two matches of that show, well worth watching. But
it was on the 25th of April.
Yeah, check out those last two matches if you haven't seen them yet. Because it's a great build-up for the title match, and also the gauntlet was really great.
Mm-hmm.
And this one should be great, too. I absolutely... I mean, the only thing that could make this not as good is the heel turn for Magenta, which feels like there's definitely a lot of kinks to work out. I would say, like the long story short of it. But you've got Senka and Sora, who are like two of my favorite wrestlers currently to watch, and they're gonna make things work. And the Marigold girls are gonna work hard. Like I would say, I really look forward to seeing what they can do there. Yamaoka versus Iroha. I said it before. Iroha has really fallen off over the last.
She's lost several steps.
And it's a real shame because she was like, that was like my girl for a long time. I was like, I love Iroha. Like everyone underrates her. She should be the top star of like all these companies. And now you see her, it's like those days are over. But in this show, there's a chance to actually really contribute something great here. Yamaoka is the one they tagged with the Super Rookie label, and she's done a very good job. This is going to be, like you said, the biggest match of her young career. And if they could deliver something good here, I think it would elevate both of the women, in my opinion. Agree with what you said about Iwatani. I think it's all but assured she'll win the Superfly title. And she should. She totally should. The real question of this match is, what will she get out of Victoria? Yeah. Like, I think that Yuzuki has had a really rough run for the most part. But there have been recent signs of life and improvement. The match that she had versus Nanai in March was unquestionably her best match.
It was great, and I am 100% certain that she'll be highly motivated against Mayu Iwatani, and Mayu is also going to be highly motivated coming in. And she is, of course, one of those wrestlers that can make the others look much better than they actually are. So I'm expecting a real great match.
I think so too. I think this could be a really good, like the last 3 matches I think are going to deliver big, and if they don't, I'll be disappointed. The rest I have hopes for, but the last 3 should really deliver, and I count this among them, and I think Yuzuki will deliver as well, because she looked good in the tag match as well, teaming with Utami versus Mirai Mai. I think she's getting there, and sometimes it's how it has to go. That's how it went with Saya Kamatani in Stardom. She was rough. Like that first year or so, she struggled, and they said, "We don't care. We're letting you go out and do. I want you to do every move you know how to do athletically. I don't care if you botch everything." And eventually, she got to where she is now, to where she's like one of the best. And I think Yuzuki's another one. They've given a long leash to just don't hold back. We don't care if you suck right now. But we have plans for you, and we are going to go all out. So you go all out, and whatever mistakes you made will be forgotten eventually when you get good. And I think that they're getting her there in the right way. And Iwatani, as you said, is the perfect person to get the most out of her. And will be motivated on her own as well. She's done a lot of comments. I mean, there's the media tour for this show has been like, I don't want to say WWE level bad, like WrestleMania level bad PR going into it. But the stuff these people are saying, and Rossi Ogawa and everything, has not shined a positive light on the show. And I mean, even Mayu, she was basically saying, like, downplaying Stardom and saying that, like, over there is a corporation. Marigold, I'm with family now, and stuff. So she kind of put that over, like, yeah, Stardom isn't that good, but here we're a family, which I don't really want to hear. I want to. Yeah.
No, it's like having a date and talk about your ex all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who wants that? You know, at the end of the day. I mean, I'll tell you if you ask about it, but I'm not just going to go out and start talking about my old relationships. Like, what? That's crazy. But that said, I thought Mirai actually gave a very nice interview. A big shout out to Scott Edwards, who did a great English language interview with Mirai. That was on Fightful, so it was on a big place. And I thought Mirai actually came across very like good and smart there. So I really liked her interview. Check that out if you want to look it up. But, you know, it's one of those things where we've said it before, and then we're not the only ones, and I was probably among the first, but pretty quickly everybody realized this fact. Utami hasn't had a good run in Marigold from the start, and especially as champion.
I was just going to say, it was before winning the title even.
Yeah.
So this is about time to switch the belt. I really have no doubts about that.
Yeah, even still, Rossi's comments were ungodly stupid.
Yes,
to
absolutely.
say, and I know a lot of people were offended by it, which is fair and all, but let's take that out of it. This is the week of your main event, of your biggest show of the year, and this is what you have to say about your champion. Like, if you really felt this way so strongly, couldn't this have waited, a few months, which is not the champion? Maybe like that would be good. Just
it wouldn't be good, but it would just be like
it wouldn't be as stupid. It would be bad again. Morally, I get it. Like it's terrible. Obviously, he shouldn't be saying that. That's a 100% fact. I think everyone would agree with that. But the timing of it makes it that much worse overall. So he's really sabotaged this main event in a lot of ways, and I thought that tag match I mentioned on the 25th. I thought Mirai got the most out of Utami, even more than Sari in her match. I thought they got the most out of each other, perhaps. The crowd's into Mirai. She looks like a star. She's very over and the best wrestler to me. That has been. Mayu's come over, obviously. That may change. But I think Mirai's really done the best of anybody in the in-ring in the company. So I agree with you. There's no reason to keep this belt on Utami at the moment. I hope that she can rebuild herself and they can rebuild her, because we're seeing signs, much like Victoria, we're seeing signs that there's more there. It's not a lost cause. She just has to get her confidence back, I think, and get her passion back, because that's something I really felt lacked in a lot of her matches, even against Sari, months ago. I think that we know what kind of wrestler she can be years ago, but it has been a long time. I mentioned that before. Her big run was 21. That was 4 years ago. And she's never really gotten there again to where she was. But hopefully, because even in Stardom, she wasn't really on a great run before she left. Outside of maybe the cage match, which I know me and you were not as high on as a lot of people. The Queen's Quest cage match. Yeah. But yeah, so Mirai getting the title. Nanai, big spot for Aono is great. She's another one that they've clearly chosen to be one of the top people.
Yeah,
they've given her.
I'm really into her. I really like what she's doing.
And she's of all of the actress people they brought over, she was basically the best one. At the end of the day, everyone else really took some time to grow. And I thought she was
very good early on. She adjusted perfectly to the style. She is very popular. She has a great theme song. Yeah. She has everything going for her.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought that I wouldn't have handled the belt like they did. To be honest, I would have built up to that. I said that at the time. I would have built up to her big win over there. But they gave it to her early, and she's done good with it. There's no fault of hers at all. So she's a very good pick to be this last match. Interesting that they went this way, and I think because it's counted on as a main event level match to help draw for this show, and Marigold has not drawn well this year. There's no question about that. They're putting a lot on this Takahashi retirement match because I think the ideal version of this kind of retirement is a nostalgia trip, pretty much similar to what Mako had in her retirement match.
Yeah.
But instead, it's kind of forced to be a big match, and not just a retirement, but to put over somebody who could really be the grand scheme to be the top player of the company right now in terms of the future. Her and Yuzuki may be the top people a year from now in Marigold, a year or two from now.
And Mirai versus Miku Ano sounds like a great first defense program too.
Yeah, and they were the ones that feuded over the belt before. Yeah. So like I said, they're. The show looks good overall, and we'll see how it draws.
Yes, this show is of course also going to be on Wrestle Universe on Saturday. And you brought up Meiko Satomura. That is one other Yoshi company that is on Wrestle Universe, of course. And if you haven't seen that, you should definitely check out the very emotional Meiko Satomura final from the end of April, was one of the first days of Golden Week. They upload the Sendai Girls shows frequently. The newest one is from May 11, so you'll always get an influx of Sendai Girls on there. And of course, except for Sendai Girls, Dylan, you will also get Ganbare Pro, Michinoku Pro Wrestling, and now, of course, Marvelous. As for Ganbare and Michinoku Pro, quickly, I recently watched the most recent Michinoku Pro show. It was a very fine show overall. There is nothing really outstanding to talk about. The main event between Yasutaka Osera and El Pantera Jr. was by far the best match of the show. And I wouldn't even go as far as to give a recommendation for that match. It was good, but nothing you will have to see. It's just some good indie wrestling influx that you get on Wrestle Universe to check out. And I have, of course, a soft spot for Michinoku Pro, so I'll watch every of their shows. As for Ganbare Pro, I recently watched the show from the 5th of May, and I really came away liking this new Shota Kawakami guy they have. This is one of the rookies. He's been in for 1 year now. His first anniversary match was against Shota on that show, and I also really like the dude. He's very good. He's going to be up the ranks pretty quickly, I guess. Another one is Munetatsu Nakamura. He's been in for 2 or 3 years. He's already feuding with the likes of Keisuke Ishii. So the work Ganbare Pro is doing on a small scale is really good as well. And of course, Marvelous now added to the bunch of promotions on Wrestle Universe. You'll pay 1,298 yen for a month of Wrestle Universe. That's €9 or €8 actually, and $9. So that's really nothing for the value that you get, like I said. Have you seen the Marvelous shows that have been uploaded?
Yeah, I did. I saw all of those shows you talked about. To be honest with you, I'm disappointed the lack of Psycho mention on your part, who was also
yes, Psycho and Yasu Urano of K-Dojo fame, of course, challenge for the Spirit of Ganbare tag team title against Shigeru Irie and Mitsuki Watase, the Renegades.
That's right. They're bringing it back, like the failed faction from 8 years ago. Yes. But yes, I mean, Irie's got to do something, and I want him to be happy. So I say bring Renegades back. But yeah, I was, all of these shows, I agree with what you said about the Pantera match, too. It was very good. Marvelous, I try to keep my eye on for sure. I can't wait to watch more of them now that they're on Wrestle Universe. This is going to be a regular spot for me pretty much now, because I love a lot of their wrestlers at the end of the day, and I think they're great, and I was so happy to see them get this spot pretty much. So yeah, I did watch the tournament show. I thought that, I mean, listen, you're never gonna not get me to not like a show that's based around like a bunch of sorry matches like at the end of the day, like even a tag team setting. But I thought the work that they put in was good. Obviously, the main event was the best match, but with Aihozan and Vinny. But I thought all of their matches were actually pretty good. The one against Aoki and Unagi was okay, like good when Aoki was in, not good when Unagi was in. Amira and Sihash was good. I thought that Amira looked pretty promising for a young wrestler there. Again, nothing like super special or anything. They were shorter matches until the main event. But it was a good show that went by pretty fast, and I would recommend watching all the Sari and Iroha matches on that show. We also had Hibiscus Me on there too. She was in the tournament.
Yeah.
More K-Dojo.
Ryukyu Dragon Pro influx here too.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I only know her as Apple Miyuki.
What do you think about Robert Marder and Fancy Ryan Clancy in the semi-main?
Robert Marder, I think he's got a ton of potential. Again.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that these guys, it's cool that they're bringing in, and not just them, but Titus was on there too in that match.
We know Titus, and we like Titus. I was just going to ask about the fairly new guys.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, so the foreigners they brought in were all very good. I like I said, Martyr has a ton of potential. Clancy, I think I love the name, Fancy Clancy.
He's actually pretty fun too.
Yeah, I thought so too. So I liked them for sure. I thought it was a good It reminded me of like, J Cup 95, where you had the Rei and Psychosis match before the final. Like they had a bunch of tournament matches, then you had the Rei and Psychosis match. Like this one, you had the tournament, and then you had this like totally different style with the men coming in, like this women's tag team tournament in the semi to break up the final match. I thought it was a good booking and a good show for sure. And I like that match too. And like I said, I like both of those guys, Martyr and Clancy. I think they have good potential. I want to see where they go in the future.
They do have potential. Yes. So that is our look at Wrestle Universe. Moving on, Dylan, we had the Champion Carnival final on the weekend. And I'm struggling to really say anything deep about it because it really was it really played out exactly like we expected. It played out in the exact way we expected. The match played out like we expected. The challenge played out like we expected. There's just nothing more than what had to be expected. And I don't know if that is where you want to be with your yearly big tournament, with your annual big tournament. And I know that they are probably going to draw a good house in Sendai Sun Plaza Hall for the Saito versus Saito match on June 1st. The card looks good, and we're going to talk about it in a bit. But this was just it was just an example of how the entire tournament went. It was very formulaic, and that's what I have to say about it, actually.
Here's what I would recommend you do. If you're like me, if you're one of the crazy, insane people that watched all of this tournament, I think you need to really step back. You really deserve a reward. Elder Scrolls Oblivion, the remake is coming out. Buy it for yourself. Play it for yourself. Take a step back. Play this amazing game, get it remade all these years later. That's what you need to do. If you made it through this tournament, you deserve that reward for yourself. So please do that. That is my one request to everyone out there, because everything you said was accurate with the sole exception of the Rei Saito and Hideki match, which was awesome.
Right. That was yeah.
Yeah, like just 1 minute and a great redux to last year with Hideki slapping the shit out of Rei.
Yeah.
Rei he waited for his moment and knocked his ass out cold in a minute.
Hideki sold that so perfectly, that slap in the corner, it completely corpse. That was awesome. That was really great.
And the
second best match of the show, actually. Right after the title match.
yeah, I was about to bring that up. Yeah, I totally agree. Like Hideki versus Rei, one of the best matches of the tournament. Which tells us something. It was like 1 minute. But Seiki and Musashi was great. I was surprised by the title change a little bit, but I don't hate it. Like I think I'm kind of in the same spot here as I am with the title match coming up, like the Triple Crown match, where if they flip the title, it wouldn't be that surprising to me, because it kind of
really
continues.
Expect them to flip the title.
Well, and we haven't loved Jun Saito's title reign so far for sure. At that end, but you're going to get this big draw. I totally get why they did it, how they did it. I don't think, and I've kind of felt this way about the Saitos. I've talked about it before with Gerard from Flow Show. The Saitos are the rare big man that don't really excel on top, I would say. Their strength is fighting other big guys, in my opinion. Like, that's where they're at their best, not necessarily the overdog spot, so to speak. And he had to control a lot of that match with Kento, and they made it a Kento match, which I don't think Rei's strengths really fall into.
No.
Rei's strengths fall in when you can throw bombs and stuff. And I think that's why Anzai was so smart in his match. Like, they didn't work an underdog match. He was like going at him, and the crowd loved it, and it made it special. Here, Kento, I don't think we worked a Kento match, and I don't think that plays the Rei strength. It wasn't bad by any means, but it was a downgrade from last year's finals, let alone some of the other actually good finals that they've had in the past. Because I remember great ones. Like when Yuma won the final, against Jake Lee. That was an incredible match. And even the T-Hawk and Ashino match from a few years ago was very strong. It ended tragically with the injury, but it was a great match for what it was. Here, these Saito brothers Carnival finals, I think I'm kind of over it, to be honest. And I think that I'm ready to be moving on from the Saitos as main eventers, to be honest. But they're too popular.
I want to see a Rei Saito run and compare it to Jun Saito's run. I guess like we said last time, Rei Saito, in principle, is the better wrestler, the better singles wrestler of the two, and I want to see a Rei Saito run and see what he can do actually on top.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up for it. Like I said, I would rather
I think there's more juice than with his brother.
Me too. But I know a lot of people was big on June, and we were kind of on an island a little bit. But there's been plenty of Rei matches. Like I said, June has never had a match as good as that Onside match. Like that Rei had. I'm sorry. Like that's not happened. And Rei has not had a match as bad as the Davey Boy match where June won the title. Hopefully, but I think that they could have good chemistry together. I also think it makes sense because if Rei wins, that would tie their record against each other at 2-2 in singles matches.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, June has a 2-1 advantage. So that could lead to a bigger match down the line, the final Saito clash, to determine who is the true best brother.
Who's the true Saito?
Yeah, who's the true... Well, there's multiple true Saitos, as we saw. Even Mazada. Yeah, you know, I'm into it.
Talking about.
Some people say that's just a rumor I heard. No, there's no confirmation of this. But I'm into the title match. I think it could over deliver, and they are very popular. I get why they're doing it. Like I said, I'm kind of over this June Saito run. I don't really want them to be in the Champion Carnival final again, but I also think that what you're saying is true. And on top of it, it's a fresh face with the title. It kind of continues the Saito's lineage while also like freshening it up a little bit, so it's not monotonous. But yeah, like you said, the tournament itself, I just think is gonna go down as a really forgettable one, like in future years.
I think so too. So
the only ones that truly loved this tournament were WWE. Because they signed two guys, and they watched Mike D and Igley Block and said, "We need these motherfuckers on our show." I
guess so. Well, we'll see about Mike D because his injuries are pretty nagging him. And in this match, in the All Asia tag match that they had with Rising Hayato and Yuma Anzai, he once again got hung up in the ropes pretty badly. Said it on Twitter too, and that probably worsened his injuries that he had before. So remember, he has been working the Real World Tag League last year injured. Then he came back to Europe, took a break for a while, then wrestled again, and was in the Champion Carnival, and now I'm guessing he's injured again. So we'll see about his status with WWE.
Even Blanc.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good guy. I've seen him wrestle multiple singles matches that I was very into. I'm guessing they'll be signed for whatever NXT is doing in Europe coming up. I'm dreading it already, but that's where we are. Want to go back quickly, Dylan, to the junior title match. Unquestionably the best match of the show. Great storyline there too. Seki Yoshioka finally got his shot after Musashi was ill in late March. That match was going to happen. So in the match, Seki Yoshioka escaped from the Iten Nichiryo. That's the finish of Musashi, and the move that Seki Yoshioka actually stole from him to get under his skin. Then he used the crash driver, which Musashi escaped from as well first, but the second attempt was very successful with the crash driver, Seki Yoshioka picking up the title. So that was a really good story told between the partners, and they threw heavy kicks at one another, heavy strikes. That was just a great, great match. One question I have about this too. Do you think they would have done the title switch if the match had happened in March?
I don't know. I mean, not a lot changed, to be honest, because the tournament, like, you basically got one extra defense from Musashi out of it. It's not like anything changed too much. So they probably would have, to be honest. It seems like, that Seigo match that Musashi had was great, though.
Yeah, it was. I think they wouldn't have done the title switch, actually, because it was so early in Musashi's reign. But now I guess they figured, okay, that's been 2 months, even though that he hadn't defended the title.
Yeah, that was my point.
He has been champion for a while now, and we can switch it to Yoshioka. The switch is weird, though, because what I said on the last show is he hasn't even been wrestling for All Japan in the last couple of months.
Yeah, I know.
And now he's the junior champion. And they are coming up with a junior league. We'll see.
I think it's great that they're doing a league. I hope it works out. I love Yoshioka. I think
Yoshioka's great.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I really appreciated how he worked this match and the story that he told that you mentioned, and I think he's a great choice to be the champion. To be honest, I think he's been underrated for years. Musashi has really established himself through this title reign, and I really think that Seigo match was what really did it.
Yes.
And I think that he's found through each other they found themselves in this company almost, because Yoshioka was on those NOAH undercards for years and didn't approach anything. And now he's here. They're both great. Musashi took a little bit to get going in All Japan. He struggled a little bit early on, but it felt like when he and Yoshioka formed this tag team, they had that great All Asia run last year. And now these guys feel like they're waving the flag a little bit. It's unfortunate that Yoshioka wasn't wrestling, as you said, but I think he's a great choice as the champion.
Yoshioka and NOAH had that one great, very brief moment. Remember back in 2021, Dylan, the Budokan return show that we all loved so much from Pro Wrestling NOAH. He won the GHG Junior Heavyweight title from Daisuke Harada, but then lost it in his first defense.
Yeah, it made no sense. I hated that because that Harada win was really good. The match he lost was like a really good match too, but it was just stupid booking. It was like such a dumb idea, and he never really got back there. Unfortunately, he's put in a tag team with people. But I like the team with Musashi. I think that they're doing a great job. When you have those 0-1 commitments, you can't back down on them. STRIGGA, so you got to understand that.
There's no 0-1 commitments anymore. Yeah, so what else happened on this show that's going to impact the future of All Japan Pro Wrestling? I guess so, is Madoka Kikuta. He said that he's going to hate All Japan for the rest of his life, and he's going to be back in All Japan. I have no idea why he said that, but he did. I like that he's going to be back because he fit in very well with All Japan Pro Wrestling as one of the heavyweight guys from Dragon Gate. And we have a card for the next show. Like I said before, we have Hideki Suzuki versus Taishin Nagao in the opener. Hideki has to get back on track after this devastating loss to Rei Saito.
Could be a great match too.
Yep, sure. Davey Boy Smith Jr. teams with Kuroshio Tokyo Japan to face Jack Kennedy and Aisawa #1.
Sounds awful.
What the hell? Okay, it's getting much better now. Musashi, Rising Hayato, and Ryo Inoue against Atsuki Aoyagi, Fuminori Abe, and Seiko Tachibana. All of these 6 guys are going to be in the Junior League. Makes perfect sense to square them off.
Another weird thing about Musashi losing the belt is he didn't really even face any of the main guys in the division. Like, we still got Hayato and Atsuki left.
That's right. That's why I'm saying that I don't think they would have done the switch in March. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Elpida versus Hokuto-gun. Yeah, so Hokuto-gun won the All Japan TV 6-man tag team title from the Baka no Jidai group when they finally, after all that time, managed to get the turnbuckle powerbomb suplex thing going with Hokuto Omori to a great ovation from the crowd. So that is really over. Yeah, Yuma Anzai, Ryuki Honda, and Ren Ayabe of Elpida are facing Hokuto Omori, Arashi, Kuma Arashi, that is, and XXL, whoever that is going to be. It's a mystery guy. Who do you think it's going to be?
It's going to be somebody big. We know that.
Koei Sato. He's big.
He was in All Japan before.
Yep.
Maybe they'll bring in Koji Doi back.
He's not that tall.
But he's thick.
He's thick. That's true.
We need beefy people in this company.
He's beefy. That's yeah.
I hope
if that what qualifies him, then he's big.
I hope Elpida doesn't mess with this too much. Like, get Anzai away from.
I have bad news for you.
You think there's going to be like a long-term deal? Like,
I'm guessing this is going to be programmed for the next coming weeks.
maybe Omori could team with XSL to go for the All Asia belts. I think it's
Maybe.
Anzai and Hayato.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. World Junior title is on the line. First defense for Seki Yoshioka against Dan Tamura. Always a solid first defense against Dan.
I love him. He should have been in the carnival.
I know. We got the first defense for the World Tag Team title after Kento Miyahara and Yuma Aoyagi won the title months ago. They never defended it, actually. And the first defense is now against the new team, Shotaro Ashino and Zion. They did double team moves in their 6-man tag.
New team, baby.
Yep. I mean, why not?
This is the best that they could come up with for Ashino in 2025.
Yep. That's where we are.
Yeah, it's literally just a.
Sorry.
It's just a filler challenge, like between Ashino and Zion. Like at the end of the day, and hopefully it's Zion either improves massively or goes. Like this is the last we see of him.
We'll see about that. Yeah, that's it. Saito versus Saito for a crown match. It's a card. It is certainly a card.
Yeah, this isn't doing a lot for me. I'm excited about the junior title match. Like that could be a good match, but even then, I don't expect Tamura to win.
Yeah.
The tag title match, I have no use for that right now. And the Saito brothers match is interesting, and I think will overachieve personally because I know a lot of people are down after this tournament.
I think so
both
too.
Of these men, but I think it'll be good. And if Rei wins, that will at least be a good title change. And I mean, the show is going to do very successful numbers, so I'm happy with that. I think All Japan's somewhat happy. I mean, the final show we didn't even really talk about the attendance. It wasn't like this big run. You know, they did less than last year, but they were at the other show, the other building, excuse me, last year. So, you know, they're doing like good. Like I wouldn't say great. The tournament had some low core numbers. They were just getting over 1,000, so that kind of could be a little worrying, but they're doing okay in this show. Like, this is the point of this title reign, ultimately, and all of this is this show coming up. So we're going to see the climax of that one way or the other. Either he'll lose to Rei here, or they'll build to somebody else that will take it to him soon. Take it from him soon. So I think we're nearing the end of this title reign at least, and I think the numbers should be good. The match should be good. The junior title match should be good, but as a show, it's not grabbing me. I do have to say.
Yes. Takashi Yoshida, Dylan. He's a champion in All Japan now.
He is.
Yeah,
he's just Yoshida now.
No, he's Takashi, actually.
Oh yeah, just Takashi. Yes, of course.
Just Takashi. Yes.
Okay, I apologize, Takashi.
I think I'm guessing he thought there was too many Yoshidas in wrestling, and not enough Takashis.
That's interesting.
So that's where we go.
I'd like to see that fact checked. How many Yoshidas are there?
No.
Show us every Yoshida. Send us a list. And STRIGGA specifically, send him a list of every Yoshida in wrestling.
Yoshida. There's, according to Cage Match, at least we have 15 Yoshidas. Some of them are doubled because they're different gimmicks.
Okay.
There are about 10 Yoshidas, I would say, in Japanese wrestling. And how many Takashis do we have? Oh, we have over 20 Takashis. Well,
that tells you right there he's wrong. Takashi Yoshida, you don't know how to do math. Your teacher, give him an F.
Well, that's All Japan.
I want you to just DM him just F.
I will.
Like
I will DM
no context to it. Just F.
F.
Yes, that's what I want you to do.
I just mentioned Takashi, not anymore Yoshida, and Madoka Kikuta. They are of course from Dragon Gate, and Dragon Gate recently sent out a note regarding a big boss Shimizu, which only said that after a series of discussions, Shimizu has formally requested to be allowed to step away from competition for the remainder of 2025. Updates on his return will be shared when available. In the Cage Match Discord, we discussed if this is a sign that Shimizu has really fucked up, or if this is a sign that he has not done something bad. Dylan, where do you stand on this?
We can only speculate because there are no facts given in this statement whatsoever. I have to wonder. And the thing that makes me not want to... I mean, I don't want to say it was uneasy, or like an uneasy feeling, but how did we get to... Because remember their first statement months ago was that he had been suspended.
Right.
So how did we get from him being suspended to now he requested?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened? Like, was he suspended, or did he request it, or what changed? What happened? Nobody knows.
For what reason would he want to stay away from the ring?
I know, and that's the weird thing. I mean, there's, like I said, I could speculate. Like I said, this is complete and utter speculation. It's not any like real thing here. It's just something for me trying to make sense in my head of this. Let's say a day came in November or December or whatever, where he went through something heavy, like in his personal life. Like maybe he got a divorce, or somebody, like something bad happened to a family member, and he was just so stressed out. And something happened, and he just shoved some backstage motherfucker into the wall and put his hands on somebody. Not like beat the shit out of him, but put his hands on him. And they suspended him. And he has felt he's still dealing with whatever he was dealing with and feels like he needs more time away. That's the only kind of explanation that pops in my head of something like that. That's not that serious, but it's serious enough to where he could want to take it. Because I think if it was something truly serious, they would care about. He would be gone, if it was that bad.
That's what we were speculating about, too. There were cases, like we've talked about it when Shingo Takagi faced Shota Umino. There was the monkey scandal, of course, back in the day.
Yeah.
And there was one guy that fell because he was a rookie at that point. There was then Ryoma, now Yohei. He had to leave the company. But Shingo Takagi didn't have to leave because he was slated to be one of the top guys. Shimizu, though, he's not anywhere near being anywhere near the top. So I agree with you. If he had done something truly awful, he would be gone.
Yeah, exactly. Or even just something that was against the policy or the code or something like that.
Yeah,
like they would have just gotten rid of
conduct.
Yeah, like they would have just gotten rid of him. Or at the very least, let's say he cheated on his wife or something like that. He would at least give an apology for it. Like there was no apology in this statement. It was just, I'm leaving. Like, I've requested to leave for a month, or he requested to leave. He didn't say I'm sorry. No head shaving. No nothing. So I can't remember a circumstance like this that was purposely so not just mysterious, but also that now he is being welcomed back in with no follow-up. You know, if he was just gone, like if we never heard from him again, we could presume that something bad happened. But with this, they're basically confirming that he will be back again. So what's the deal? Like, I think at that point, the fans deserve a better explanation if he's going to be back than this, in my personal opinion.
I guess so too, but that's the only thing that we got. It's interesting though that this popped up after people online started asking questions, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's been so long. It's been half a year at this point. I just wonder what changed. And like you said, maybe it was they saw some things online, some people asked too many questions, and they wanted to address it at least. But like I said, the tone of the announcements from 6 months ago to now are completely different.
Completely different,
yeah. So it's just very strange. I don't have any real knowledge or understanding of why this was, and I kind of feel like we may never end up knowing. Like at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's
You know, but you know, again, I mean, hopefully it's not a similar situation to the Shingo deal with the monkey and all that stuff. That you know, obviously that was very bad. But
that was dealt with very publicly back in the day. I just went back the other day to check on that, and that was really, really well covered at the time. But this one is just not. So
yeah, same thing with Taru and All Japan. Like, all that stuff was covered in publicly, like you said. So I'm just wondering what is the deal with this it must be a very weird and unique situation that, maybe if there was somebody wronged in like what I speculated on, maybe the guy wasn't even mad about it. And they came together to keep this under wraps somehow. I mean, I don't know. It makes no sense on paper. But I will say this: taking whatever this is out of it, and we can presume that it was not anything too crazy, like in terms of being a crime or anything like that. I think he's been missed in the promotion. Like since he left.
Yeah, me too.
I think that the company has not been as good without him as it was with him. And the timing of it was horrible because they were right about to break the record for the Triangle Gate. And that got taken away from not just him, but Jay and UT as well. So Vibes has not been in a good state in 2025. Maybe when he comes back, he could be an injection of life for the company. Just for, again, never mind whatever happened, but just from a pure wrestling standpoint, perhaps he can help the company. Because I think he has been missed because I think he's a great talent, in all honesty.
Natural Vibes was non-factor after he was gone for a long time. Now they have juice again with Flamita being back and UT being a champion. We'll see where Natural Vibes go after this year concludes.
Yeah, you never know at the end of the day. Yeah.
So that was the brief Dragon Gate update. In the best of the Super Junior, we of course also have a Dragon Gate tie-up with Dragon Dia being in the tournament, currently at 6 points. He defeated Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Clark Connors, and then got a big victory over Hiromu Takahashi in the semi-main event of the Yoyogi National Stadium No. 2 show on the 17th. Right now, when we look at the standings for both blocks, they are virtually identical. There is one guy on top. In Block A, it's Master Wato with 8. In Block B, it's Nick Wayne with 8. Most other guys have 6, except for Ninja Mac and Sho. They have 4 in their respective blocks. And that is where the tournament stands right now. The most recent shows I have not seen so far. Yo has gotten a win over El Desperado in the tournament, and Desperado, he has dropped some falls in the tournament, actually. Let me see. He has lost to Yo. He has lost to Nick Wayne and to Taiji Ishimori already. So he can, of course, still make the finals, but I'm guessing he's not. But he could still. The one against Nick Wayne was interesting. I'm guessing they are going to get a title match out of that. Nick Wayne, of course, started with 3 wins, with a big start, and now he's lost some of the matches. He has 4 wins now, actually. Lost some of the matches that he's had. Probably going to be on top of the not on top of the block, but near the top of the block when it all comes down. Dylan, how has the tournament been so far for you?
It's a fitting follow-up to the Champion Carnival. While watching it,
There's one exception. One exception, and that's the Kushida and Kosei Fujita match.
Yeah, that's the thing. If there was one guy who I would point to, it would be Kosei. He's had a couple of big matches where he's looked like the man, and that match was pretty freaking great. Like Kosei and Kushida. I thought Kosei and Hiromu had one of the best matches of the tournament.
It was good too, yes. I don't want to say I really like Kushida's run. I think he's putting some effort into this.
It's great to see. Like I said, I thought his match with Dia was pretty disappointing.
Yeah,
I do have to say. But Dia, like all of Dia's matches have been a little disappointing.
I was just going to say, that's not on Kushida.
yeah, you're probably right. Like on that end.
Even and with Hiromu Takahashi, the one that Dragon Dia won, it was not the big win.
I didn't think it was that great either.
No.
Yeah, no. I did like how someone said that Hiromu's going to morph into Ishii. Like if this keeps up on the cage match comments on them. But I don't know about that. But I do think that the match wasn't that great. And it should have been. I will say this. Dia, he's not being put in position to have the best matches again this year, because I've seen a lot of people say he's just a bad singles wrestler, and he's better as a tag guy. But that doesn't. I can't say that when I saw him versus Yamato last year, have one of the best matches of the year.
I know.
In Dragon Gate. But he's not put in to have that kind of match in this tournament. He's put in to have 10-minute junior matches, pretty much. And they're all the same.
The one against Hiromu Takahashi was probably the closest to what you could get already out of that. But even that didn't really light the world on fire. Didn't excite me. And like you said, the one with Kushida wasn't better either. Yeah. Not too thrilled with the one that he's having.
No. And like I said, I mean, they're putting him in these short matches, and like you said, Hiromu was the best one, but it wasn't that special. But none of the matches are that special. Like, really, it's like Kosei and Kushida was the best, I would say. But even then, like, do I really think that's going to be like a top 10 match or anything like that for me at the end of the year?
No.
Like, it was very good. Like, let me put it this way. If you gave me a choice between Kosei Kushida and Yoshioka and Musashi, I think the All Japan match was better.
Yeah. That's. I think the All Japan match was better than every match that we've seen so far.
And that's what I'm saying. That was the best match of the tournament, and it's still not as good as this other, match that. Yeah, so that's where we're at with the tournament. It's not a great tournament for anybody.
If you want to check out one show, it should probably be the one from Yoyogi. That was the best one from the 17th, with Titan against Taiji Himori, Kushida against Kosei Fujita, Kevin Knight against Nick Wayne, Dragon Dyer and Takahashi, and Desperado against Mao. All good matches.
On the other hand, I've seen a lot of positive comments towards Mao from New Japan fans who hadn't seen him before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he just brings something different. Like, Dyer is just working a normal junior style, pretty much. Mao, they really gave a chance to in that Despy match. That went like 25 minutes or something. Like, you've got to see the full Mao experience.
Exactly. That's a difference from him to Dragon Dyer, actually.
Yeah, and I think that the way they booked the tournament is interesting. Everyone's alive, pretty much. I mean, they've done this kind of stuff before.
Yeah.
But at least it gives them a lot of options heading into the final stretch, of the tournament. Because really nobody's eliminated at this point. I kind of said my piece on who I thought it would come down to the last episode, but I don't see any reason why that would change. Like, with these rankings, pretty much everyone's alive.
Yep.
I think that it's a shame. Like, if you want proof that this tournament blows, ultimately, what great match has Robbie Eagles had so far?
Oh, I've not been too thrilled with his matches, actually.
Exactly. Like, that he's normally one of the best workers in this whole company, regardless of weight class, and he's done nothing this tournament. Like, the guys he's facing, it's just not a lot there, at the end of the day. But you could say that about him. You could say that about, like, if we ran down every person in this tournament, and you said who had, what was so-and-so's great match, there'd be a lot of people you would say that exact thing. I haven't loved any of his matches like that.
I think the best one he had was from Kurkan with Nick Wayne, but even that was not a high tier match.
And nowhere close to what he's done in years past.
No.
Yeah. And like I said, his matches are good. It's not like he's terrible in them or anything like that. Him and Kevin Knight had a good match. These matches are fine. It's like the Carnival, same thing. The Carnival had very few matches I thought were truly dreadful. Like, there were a couple, to be fair, but not that many. More often than not, they were fine to good and things that no one will talk about, but besides us talking about them on the show. And I feel the same way about this tournament. Like, there's a ton of matches that happened. They weren't bad. Like, Eagles and Titan, happened tonight. Maybe it'll be his big match. I haven't seen that yet. Because that would be a match that I would have said, oh, that has to be one of the best matches, like, on paper. But they're doing some stuff with Despy, like you said, having him drop some falls. We'll see what they do overall. Maybe, if anything else, that gives hope that somebody different can come out of
somebody
B-Boss
else
into the final. So that alone can and I said this on the Patreon, at patreon.com/Eastern Lariat, when I covered the carnival. These tournaments often live or die. Like a lot of tournaments in Japanese wrestling are kind of like that, where there's not a lot that's bad, but not a lot that's great, and a lot that just goes on and on. But the tournament can live or die with the final of it. If this tournament has an amazing final match, that delivers huge, which we've seen in the past, they've done that. If they can pull something like that out in the final, that kind of erases whatever negative thoughts you have of the tournament overall, because it led to an epic moment and a fantastic final match.
Yeah, and the final in the end is not in the position like last year's final where they had it in Osaka Joe Hall. It needed to have big names in it, but this time the final is in Ottawa, and you can put different guys into the final of that in Ota. It's not that big of building. They will probably still get a good house out of that. So it can be somewhat different than Desperado.
I really hope Kosei wins, to be honest. That's kind of me too. My prevailing thought. I think he deserves it the most, and he would be the most interesting person to be the champion next, in my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah. That is it, I guess, right? Do we have anything else that you want to bring up?
No. I just hope everybody had a good time listening to the show. Hopefully we talked about everything you guys wanted us to, for sure. It's cool that so much is happening. Again, I didn't love the tournaments themselves in terms of quality, but there was a lot that, we're not going to be without wrestling for too long within this time period, for sure. So, and we talked about everything on Wrestle Update. I think it's fantastic that Marvelous is on there now. You have all of these promotions for one, very reasonable price.
Yes.
And I think that now, with the Joshi scene being so represented there, with TJ, Sendai, and now Marvelous, we're getting to see all of these great women's wrestlers.
Don't forget Marigold.
Yeah, Marigold that we talked about there. We previewed their whole big show coming up. So that's going to be a ton of fun to watch. And hopefully the tournament can pick up. We're heading towards the home stretch now. The finals are coming up. There'll be some big New Japan shows soon. And we even gave NOAH a pretty decent rundown today. So we accomplished a lot, I would say. And like I said, hopefully good times are ahead for all of Japanese wrestling.
Rest in peace, Hana Kimura. 5 years it's been now. Go back and listen to the show we did when she died.
Yeah, that was hard to believe. It's been 5 years.
It's crazy. Time is, with COVID, time. Looking back at time, it's been such an impossible time to really measure time, with COVID being all these 3 years condensed to what felt like 1 year. But yeah, 5 years is a crazy long time. Hoping that the show goes well, that they do it this year.
Yeah, the main event for that's going to be Rina versus Vinny in there. They got some other matches like Sihash and Shotaro Ashino are going to be there, taking out Konami and Minoru Suzuki. Seigo, yeah.
When you listen to the show has been already over.
Oh, okay. Well, this should be fun. I hope everybody.
But yeah, Seigo's on there. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah, check it out. It's at Korakuen. Should be an emotional moment, but very happy for Kyoko. I hope everything is very successful for her more than anything else. I'm so glad that she's able to do these shows and continue to keep her daughter's name alive to everybody. But obviously, Hana's always missed, and hopefully, she's resting well and proud of everything going on in her name, and how even 5 years later, it seems like a long time, but she's still remembered very strong. So that's one thing that we can be very thankful for.
Absolutely. So thank you all for listening, and goodbye.
Sayonara.